Well, the whole idea for recording the video came from hearing the Pet Shop Boys' new album, Electric, and the standout track for me was Love is a Bourgeois Construct, and immediately the tune was in my head and ideas just started to flow, and it was the start of the song where the beat, and just in my head I could just start imagining just different scenes doing the same thing but in different locations and in different clothes. So that's where the idea came from, and it didn't take long before other ideas came in, because quite simply the lyrics are quite humorous and fun, and that's what I wanted to do, was have some fun creating this video. So without any kind of professional training or anything like that, I'm no filmmaker or movie maker or anything, that's the same thing. So just basically with my camera, which is this, probably maybe £100, used that because I wanted to record it in HD to try and make it look at least a little bit better, even if I'm not professional. And the only expense in the film was 50p for this china cup from the Cat Protection League, and the parking at the Coombe Abbey on the day was £3.70. So basically this video was made for less than a fiver, and even the love hearts you can see behind me, just some cardboard, some felt tip pens, markers, and that was what was used to create the love hearts that came into the video with, I think, quite good effect. I printed off the lyrics and then just marked down the time of how long I'd need to record each section for, and I began with doing the simple lines first of all, the ones that I'd got out, the ones I got the idea in my head, where you could just do it basically at home. So the ones I did first were the ones I did at home, where I'm in bed at the start of the film, and just had fun doing that for the first couple of days, and it didn't take too long. Then when I finished work on the Saturday morning, because I work nights, on the Saturday morning I started to go out, and that's where, with that wonderful coat, I went down to Gossip Street in Coventry, and at a shop called Wicked, and they very kindly let me put the coat on, and to me it just added to the fun of the video, and it just looked the part. So there we were. I kind of got the guy from the shop who very kindly agreed to film it for me, because there's just me, and so started recording, and just at one point this bus goes past, and the faces of the people, just like, there I am going, kind of doing it all, and the faces, they just couldn't believe it on the bus. It was, sort of bright and early, it's sort of like 9:30 in the morning. So I'd done that, wonderful, that was really good, and just walking down the street, and he filmed that for me, so that was good fun to actually have somebody hold the camera. And when somebody does hold the camera, they don't always hold it and capture what you want to capture, but you go with it, and that was the experiences I'll go through. So yes, when it starts off just in the bed, and then there's that spinning around, what I wanted to kind of create in my head with that was that he's going into a dream. So at the start of the video, our character begins to dream, and everything that you see during the video is all a dream, until of course at the very end, where I had to play both parts in that bed, difficult, and the secret was at the very end, obviously I've put the mask on for Posh, and I'm playing Posh, and what I did was just, yes, I filled out the onesie and put all socks down the arm and blanket in the body, and that's how I created that look. because I needed to be two, because it's just me at that point. But going round and swirling round was recorded at my local park, but I had to get there really before sort of kids started using the park. I didn't want to be there with a camera, so I went very early, recorded that with the wonderful glasses I'd made from custard, I think they were custard tart cases, plastic, cut the nose out, and basically I just made 2 love hearts at work, stuck them on the eyes and used that just as another, okay, it's a bit tacky, but I just wanted to be a little bit creative. I'm no artist, but that's what I did. And as the day went on, I kind of like did more. So I wanted to do this where it talks about searching for the soul of England. So I thought, what could I do? What could I do? I could do something with binoculars. That was pretty obvious, but I'd already used the binoculars at work that morning, where I'd recorded it. We've got this really high grass, and I haven't got many weeds in the garden here, so I decided to record the weeds at work. So I took some binoculars in, but I had my Royal Mail uniform on, so I couldn't really show that. So what I did was I just turned the high vis inside out and just had the binoculars and just quickly did that. For searching for the soul of England, I decided to get my England flags out, and I thought what I'd love to do is roll down the hill over these flags for no other reason than it was just what came into my head. And so I tried it, and the result was this. A little bit naff. The idea was, going into the dream at the start, and it goes into a dream, everything's just, and I wanted to kind of have this, that he lives in this stately home. So I went to Combe Abbey, and that's why there's the characters outside Combe. And then it developed from there that obviously his partner's left him, and they go. And then I thought, well, how can I do that? There's only me. And the night before, I had asked if anybody wanted to come and do the filming. There wasn't really many takers. But then I got a message on the Saturday night, and my friend Sam, who you'll see in the footage and also stars in the video, agreed to get up, and I wanted to start at 5 o'clock in the morning. I actually got up at 4, and so he gave up his sleep and came and filmed. And so the turn of events were, we got to Combe, time was running out because he'd got to get back to look after the baby, and so he hadn't got a lot of time, and we'd already spent several hours recording the moves and all the dance moves downtown. And so I had a bit of a disaster and left the props at home, because I'd driven home, emptied the memory card, refilled it again, and we're going to Combe. And as I was driving, or as I got there, I think it was, discovered that I'd left the props. That meant the wig, the glasses, the hat, I got the suit, but not the actual wig. So that kind of, whilst it created a problem, it actually solved the problem for me, because it meant that Sam then just put on my suit, and I just had to get him to hold the love heart in front of his face, so that you still think it was me. And I then could dress as posh, so I wanted to be Posh Spice, and so I got the face mask, and I got some thermal winter leggings. They're not tights, and so I got the coat that was kind of like dressed her all in black to make it a little bit more like Posh Spice. And I must say, yeah, I think I've got the legs of Victoria Beckham. And in the end, it kind of worked quite well. It wasn't perfect. It was, a bit flawed in places, but made the best of a bad situation. And I had to go back to Combe, and that's where you see the recording with Teacup and a very nice couple that were visiting Combe Abbey. Very kindly, they thought they were going to be taking a photo, and there I was dressed in a suit, so I looked respectable. They didn't know I was insane, and what I did was asked them if they would just mind recording me sipping. And it's a pity that the audio wasn't there. I mean, hopefully on this video you'll see. I hear you say, right.
Cheers!
Let's do it this way. Lovely, thank you. What they said, and it just added to it, but it was great fun. And there was a wedding photographer there, just with a couple going through the sort of photos they could have. And he got his camera, and he was, right, if you could stand there, and he was taking pictures, and then there was me with a suit looking very respectable, with my camera, placed it down, and then there's me just swirling around and doing some kind of stupid moves. So that was quite good fun, because I was now at Coombe later than what I'd planned, because I really wanted to be there before people started turning up in great numbers, because I'd planned to keep changing out of suits, and at one point, I was just in my boxer shorts in the car park. I'm surprised I didn't get kicked out, surprised I didn't get arrested actually. But I'd got obviously the specific lines like the teacup, and the walking down that long road. I wanted that long road to feature in the video, and because I knew I could always speed it up or slow it down, and in the video I did speed it up, and it worked, I think, to quite good effect. And so I recorded that, but there's always bits in the video that I didn't know, like the dance moves. I didn't know exactly, because I didn't want to time it. I just wanted to have lots of footage and be able to look at it and think, okay, what's going to be the best for this bit, or what's going to be the best for that bit. I didn't want to have to keep going out recording a bit more. I wanted to do it all, on the Saturday and Sunday. And by the Sunday afternoon, the hardest part was I'd gone out on a Saturday night at 9:30 to try and find where it says I've been hanging out with various riffraff. How do you say to people, excuse me, I'd like you to be the riffraff in this video, please? If you could look a little bit, chubby and rough or whatever, And I seen people, and I was a little apprehensive about approaching them, so I didn't record it on the Saturday night. But I did record trying to break into my car with the balaclava on. The problem was it was too dark, so I moved the car under a light, and I thought I'd got it, recorded it, and when it came to play it back, it was just not right. So that had to go, and that footage ended up not being in it, and so I had to do it in daylight, which is a little bit harder, in that, if you're going to break into a car, you probably do it at night. But you've got to bear in mind that our character in the video is a little bit stupid, so he probably would break into the car. So he's hanging about with, the wrong sort of people. He's doing the wrong sorts of things. And I did love the section where he gets arrested and he's going to the courts, and there's this handcuffs and a bit of a tussle. Again, Sam came in handy there, and again another cameo in the video. And what I did was I used the stand so that we could record it. It was where this camera is now. I just put it on the stand, and in fact it's this stand which was left in the house that I bought, just left behind, and so it's come in very handy.